I think we're going to win the championship. I'm sorry. I said I think we're going to win a championship, but I lied. We are going to win the championship.
Wow.
Draymond Green just said something that most people would call crazy. But is it really? How could a team barely above 500, stuck in the play-in race, possibly have championship aspirations? Well, I'm not here to tell you the Golden State Warriors are guaranteed to win it all. But I am here to tell you that nobody wants to see this team in the playoffs. With Jimmy Butler now alongside Steph Curry and Draymond Green, this squad has undergone a radical transformation, and the league is starting to notice. Since trading for Jimmy Buckets, the Warriors have gone 4-1, with their latest statement win coming against the red-hot Sacramento Kings. And what stood out the most? The Warriors no longer crumble when Steph hits the bench. That's been their Achilles heel all season, but now, against Sacramento, the Dubs were plus 24 in non-Steph minutes. Let that sink in. Plus 24 without Steph Curry, and it's all because of Jimmy Butler. With Steph resting, Jimmy took over, freezing Malik Monk with a deadly step back, turning defense into offense and dictating the game like a true superstar. His ability to score, playmake, draw fouls, and defend elite matchups makes the Warriors a completely different team when Steph sits. But the real beauty? They look even better when Steph and Jimmy share the floor. This play says it all. Steph feeds Jimmy at the free throw line, and before the defense can react, Butler immediately finds Draymond for an easy backdoor layup. Perfect chemistry, and they're just getting started. Still think this team is going nowhere? You might want to think again. Jimmy Butler sees the defense shift, spots Draymond cutting backdoor, and delivers the perfect dime for an easy 2. And when asked about playing with Steph Curry, Jimmy didn't hold back. They're not leaving him. Ever. Probably too. People will never leave him. There's so much space for everyone else. I get the easy job. I'm playing one-on-one, or I'm playing in so much space. It's so great playing with someone like that. Think about it. This is Jimmy Butler we're talking about. A guy who's used to entire defenses collapsing on him. He's used to seeing the best, second best, and even third best defender on a nightly basis. Now, he's seeing single coverage. Sometimes he's operating 4-on-3 in the half court. Of course, he's going to make it look easy. But if one part of his game has completely changed the Warriors' offense, it's his ability to get to the free throw line. The Dubs have struggled with this for years. Some of it is their play style. Some of it is bad officiating. Let's be real. The refs refuse to give Steph a good whistle. But Jimmy Butler is different. You can't keep him off the line. And Steve Kerr said it best. The fact that Jimmy went to the line 15 times versus Chicago shows you the power of free throws. The ability to get your defense set and settle a game down is a big change. We don't go to the line much. Maybe that's about to change. And that's exactly what's happening. Slowing the game down, giving Draymond and Jimmy time to set the defense, and keeping teams from running out in transition is a game changer. You're not just seeing the impact in the win column or in Jimmy's stats. You're seeing it in Steph's game too. Since Jimmy joined, Steph has been playing out of his mind, averaging 29 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. And it's not a coincidence. When you give a 36-year-old superstar who draws double teams every single possession another guy who can take the pressure off, all of a sudden he's not washed anymore. But make no mistake, Steph is still the most feared offensive player in basketball. Just look at their recent game against Sacramento. Here, 2 defenders stick with Steph off a GP2 screen. But with just one dribble, he throws a perfect pocket pass for the easy bucket. Or this play, off a Draymond pin down, both Kings defenders follow Steph, and he finds Dre cutting backdoor for the layup. No one in NBA history gets guarded like Steph Curry, but now, he finally has the help he's been missing. But now you have a guy in Jimmy Butler who can make defenses really pay and start to question if they need to change their strategy. Now we've talked about Jimmy, we've talked about Steph, but Brandon Peasky also deserves some credit because after, people were calling him the worst player in the NBA to start the season. Yes, he has drastically turned things around, averaging 14 1/2 points, 5 boards, and 4 assists per game over his last 13 matches, and those numbers might not seem crazy. But you have to consider this is someone in his second year on his rookie contract coming off the bench in most of those games. So to get that kind of production is a huge positive. And he deserves a massive apology from a lot of people because It was one thing to criticize him, which I did myself. But some of the things people were saying about him was entirely ridiculous. And we are seeing that right now with him looking like the third or fourth best player on this team. Now that is without mentioning the guy who is coming back from injury at some point in time. And that is the X factor for this Warriors team. Jonathan Kuminga, whatever you think of Kinga's potential, or if he's worth a max contract, this is a good NBA player. He's a guy who makes this Warriors team significantly more dangerous, and in a way he gives you some of those same traits that Jimmy does, just on a much less polished level. But despite not being the most polished player yet, over his last 17 games prior to injury, Kingo is averaging 20 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists on 47% from the field. And by the way, more than half of those games were off the bench, whether he comes into the starting lineup or is the sixth man the scoring. The rim pressure, some added playmaking, and hopefully some good defense adds a completely different dimension to a Dubs team that already looks completely different with the addition of Jimmy Butler. And then you have Quinton Post, who has been knocking down the Moses. Moody has been looking great. Buddy healed well. One night he looks like Steph Curry. The other night he looks like he doesn't even belong in the G League if you can get the best version of him alongside this. No. And improved Warriors team, you were seeing that this is a team that could at the very least make some noise come playoff time. And if you want to see me continue to talk about that going forward, consider subscribing. Dropping a like on the video would be cool. Most importantly, have a great day. Bye.